Let's turn to the other big talking point tonight. The Arvind Kejriwal government in New Delhi tabled the Jan Lokpal bill in the Delhi Assembly today amidst high drama both inside and outside the Delhi Assembly. Police detained former Aam Aadmi Party leaders Prashant Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav along with their supporters who were protesting against the bill and moving towards the Delhi Assembly. Both of the leaders say the bill is a watered down version and is in some way Kejriwal has not fulfilled his mandate. The BJP too was protesting the bill. Action both inside and outside the assembly. So is this a diluted version of the bill? The Aam Aadmi Party claims it will make Delhi corruption free. What is the truth when it comes to the new Jan Lokpal bill over which many battles have been fought a few years ago? Joining me now, Yogendra Yadav to give his perspective, and also joining me is Preeti Menon of the Aam Aadmi Party. Yogendra Yadav, founder of the Swaraj Abhiyan, please tell me, what is it about this Jan Lokpal bill that you believe is such that you believe Arvind Kejriwal has in some way betrayed his mandate? I want a specific when you claim he has betrayed his mandate.
Absolutely, Raj. Betrayed is the right word. Watered down is not what you are saying. Maybe the bill of 2014 was watered down, but this is a complete betrayal because in Ram Leela ground, when we started the entire process and when we said we want the movement for Jan Lokpal, simply said there are 3 yardsticks by which you can judge whether it is the Jan Lokpal of the kind we wanted. Number one, is the appointment procedure independent, truly independent, which is to say, in the selection committee, is there a majority of non-political, non-governmental people? Number two, is the removal process such that it makes reference to judiciary rather than politicians and legislators taking a decision? And number three, does it have a independent investigative agency of its own under its control? These are 3 things that everyone had specified, including Arvind Kejriwal. He must have spoken dozens of times on each of those things. And I'm absolutely shocked, Rajiv, and I'm saying shocked, because there are other things where I can have reservations, I could have differences and so on. But I thought under Arvind Kejriwal's government, this is one thing that you can take for granted. Okay, but when we looked at the bill, it not only goes against everything promised in Ram Leela Maidan, this actually negates the provisions of the bill introduced in the 49-day government as well. And it's come through a series of lies and deceit. So I really think this is a murder of the promise made on Ram Leela Maidan. I don't use this expression very often, but this is so...
I'm going to come back to what were the promises made on Ram Leela Maidan and whether you were living in an illusory world because you were not in the political realm at that time, and whether now politics and compulsions of politics forces you to recognize that the Lokpal bill as you envisioned at the time was never going to be practical. But Preeti Menon, some of those points that are made by Yogendra Yadav, clearly the idea of an independent, and I use the word independent, Lokpal, an independent investigator into corruption by public figures, does not exist in this Lokpal. This Lokpal does not guarantee the independence of the institution, and thereby Mr. Yadav has a point that it is, I would say, a much watered down version.
Rajdeep, Mr. Yadav pointed out 3 points right now, and I will answer each one of them, but he left out a 4th point which he began his agitation and his complaints against us, which was that this covers the central government employees and the central ministers. So the entire objection to the Delhi Lokpal bill began because it was going to include in its ambit the central government as well. And I therefore cannot expect anything else except that it is motivated. This reason for their objections are definitely biased. They are coming from a point of protecting the BJP. They are not coming from the viewpoint of actually enabling a stronger Lokpal. The second point here I'd like to make is that this is a proposed bill which is going to be debated in the Vidhan Sabha. We are open to suggestions. It will evolve. But all the things that we have done, all the changes we have made are to make it watertight, to make it foolproof.
Where is the independence?
Workable.
Where is the independence? Is it independent?
I will tell you.
Where is the independence of the Lokpal?
Absolutely. I'm coming to that. The selection process, their objection is only to one thing, that there are no eminent citizens in it. The NGAC judgment, which the Supreme Court has just delivered, has hundreds of pages covered in it, in which it says that eminent citizens is a very ambiguous term and it is not a constitutional post, and it can be used by any government to put in anybody into that position of selection, and they have totally discarded it. Prashant Bhushan himself is a votary of that Supreme Court judgment, and now when we did exactly the same thing, we removed the ambiguous eminent persons, they have an objection to it. So this is an objection merely for the sake of the objection. There is a Chief Justice, there is a Leader of Opposition, there is a Speaker, there is a Chief Minister who will be part of the people who are appointing. There is an entire selection process which will be detailed in the rules, in which nothing has changed. So I think that all the objections which are given are similar. Like to say that the Vidhan Sabha can impeach. The Vidhan Sabha doesn't wake up in the morning and impeach. Vidhan Sabha can impeach judges. The Parliament can impeach Supreme Court judges. Have we ever seen any impeachments having in our lifetimes? We have not seen any impeachments being done. Impeachment is a very serious process, which the precursor to which are inquiries, which will take place. There will be detailed in the rules on how the inquiry will take place, on how exactly will they reach a level where they will, the Chief Justice may recommend it for an impeachment. So I think these objections are not real.
You're saying they're not real. Let me come back to Yogendra Yadav. Yogendra Yadav, there's an interesting word which Preeti Menon used, which is workable. There is a feeling that what you had envisaged in the Ram Leela Maidan was not workable. Because once you are in the political realm, you will not be able to create a truly independent, almost parallel authority that the Lokpal was going to become. It would actually undermine government functioning. And Arvind Kejriwal therefore has finally become realistic now that he is in power, and therefore has decided that a Lokpal will also have to work within limits. At the end of the day, the Chief Minister and the state are supreme.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, I'm using the word workable.
My former colleague Preeti will, my former colleague Preeti will appreciate this little. This is a very well-known share.
Indraji, I need to interrupt you.
Nisagama manipamaga nipamaga sanipamani sapasa. जहाँ तक याद आती रहेगी